Hi there, Ron here, and welcome to another open game night in Variable Play. And we are a lot today. Uh,
Kasha,
and
we
we
can
have
fit.
some special guests.
Woohoo!
Ronan, Ron Terwell, he's joined us many times already. And of course, our main topic for today,
The
Jake,
hotness, the
the
hottest
hotness.
topic, the
Let the
hottest
roast
topic.
begin.
Well,
No,
natawa ako
so,
kasi,
Hottest topic
natawa ako
right
kasi
now.
yung intro is parang, hey, we've got guests today. So we have Ron, tapos move on kagad. Parang,
Siyempre.
we have Ron Terwell, you know him. Okay, fine.
On to the main man.
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you,
All right,
thank you.
I'll do my work first.
Yeah, Denmark's gonna be flooding the interwebs first.
People
In
that were
Facebook,
here.
yes.
The fans, the
But
fandom.
you guys can
So,
also check us
yes.
out in YouTube, and we now also are streaming live in Twitch.
Hey,
Same
awesome.
Are we? Amazing.
Yes, we're
so
Twitchers
we're-
So
now.
where do I share? What's the best like streaming for you guys? That's where.
Because we're all Filipinos, it's still Facebook.
Oo.
It's like, actually, the Twitch was a request from viewers in the States. So Filipino
Amazing.
viewers from the States
Amazing.
who are
Woo.
uh,
Worldwide,
interested
baby.
in-
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
So, for the ones who don't know and are living under a rock, no, just kidding. Jake started his journey of collecting the Philippines very first ever
Dun, 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 dun.
top 100 board games of all time, counted 2020. Okay, just a caveat.
As of
Parentheses.
2020.
Parentheses.
Parentheses. With clarifications.
Ang hirap nun. Ang hirap i-English nun, by the way. Nung I was trying to write that and explain. People were so confused.
I know because I was one of them. I messaged Jake. Hi Jake, here's my list. Then send it. And then I just couldn't like tama kaya yung list ko? So I messaged again. Hey Jake, by the way, is it the top 10 games of 2020 for the Philippines? Or is it top 10 games of all time just counted in 2020?
Yeah.
And then he clarified, oh, it's all games. I clarified it on another comment. I'm like, oh, okay. Let me change my list.
Yeah. He sent me a list of just the games released in 2020. So it's like,
2020.
grabe. Ang grabe
That's right.
daming games na nalaro nito. Meron siyang 2020 enough to make like a top 15.
I
Well-
was telling Ron earlier, I only got 5. And then suddenly I was
would
reading
probably
comments.
send the same title 100 times.
And then people were sending new games. And I'm like, oh, it's not 2020. It's all time for 2020. Then I never got back to my list. But still, my number one won. So,
Yeah. Well, wait, spoilers, just in case for the ones who haven't read. Jake, you
I
are
don't have
an
Twitch.
admin.
Go
It's
on, sorry.
If I'm not mistaken, you're an admin also in Philippine board game enthusiast. So if you are in the Philippines and you want to join in the sales and all of the kwentuhan discussions about board gaming, you can definitely search for that group. It's I think one of the biggest
Yeah.
groups, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
Yeah, I think
I think last I checked, 16,000 members. And,
Oh my
funny
God.
funny story about that admin role. I started this countdown not an admin. But then every time I post something every day, I would bug the admin sila chat. Like, hey man, hindi ko pa na-approve yung ano ko. Yung post ko. Like,
fine, make him admin.
on the third time, he goes like, here, making admin. So,
okay.
there's one way to get around it.
Okay, I honestly thought you've been an admin for a long time. I didn't know it was a perk you got for
yeah.
It's a
for
perk?
starting this
For
thing.
being persistent.
Sa pangungulit niya.
for being dedicated to your craft.
For being a keyboard warrior, you get to be an admin.
Yes.
Bro.
One more to go, and I'm done.
Yeah, so before we get to the story about the top 100, maybe we can just go a bit of a run through of like what games have you recently played. So maybe Javi, video games or board games doesn't matter. Any game that you've played recently.
Oh, anything. Okay. Well, I just came back from, I'm gonna say, about 6 hours of Commander, so a lot of magic
Wow.
today.
Oh,
And
nice.
mostly prior to that was Monster Train on Steam and Days
Mhm.
Gone on PS4. So there, those are what I'm playing at the moment.
Cool. All right.
Si Jake probably just finished the game. A magic
Before ako
game.
maligo, naglaro ako ng game by the way.
For-
Ganun ka-recent. Kaya ako late ng mga 10 minutes because I played the game.
So what game have you played recently, Jake?
So on I have a game on the Switch. I have a Switch. There was a lot of sales recently, diba? Because it's
Yes,
holidays.
yes.
So I got to
The Black
download.
Friday and holidays.
I got to download this game called Wargroove. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Wargroove is like if you played all the way back to ano naman ang matanda kasi all the way back. if you played on the DS before, there's a game called Advance Wars. I don't know if
Yes,
you
I
played it.
have played Advance
Advance
Wars.
Wars.
Advance Wars is like war themed, right? Modern war
Yeah.
themed. So
Uh-huh.
so supposedly Wargroove is like the spiritual successor to that, but
Fantasy.
in fantasy themed.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's
I'm
good.
looking at it.
From War, the successor is the fantasy.
Well, it's
Yeah.
kinda like
An interesting twist.
Exactly. They realized, we didn't do the prequel, parang ganun. So they did the prequel.
yeah.
Mm.
I think it's similar to like how Space Marine started. Didn't it? Like Warhammer started with the
40,000?
Marines, and then didn't it start with 40K?
No.
They started also with fantasy? I didn't
That's
know.
why it's called Warhammer. It started with hammer.
That's true.
The Space Marine also has a hammer. Okay. I stand corrected. Maybe it's unique. Cool.
It's
How about you, Ronan?
recently sa Steam I've got a Pokemon clone game called Nexomon. I
Yes,
don't know.
I have tried that
You're
on
playing
the,
Nexo,
on the
man?
mobile.
It's a
Wala
clone.
lang.
So,
If you just really want to play a Pokemon game.
Amazing.
yeah.
Interesting.
I bought it for the quips and the mga comments. Yeah, it's a funny story kasi. So, board game related. I have been playing sa BGA recently.
Mhm.
Oh, how is it?
Ano bang game? St. Petersburg. Yung first
Oh,
I
yeah.
recently played. Kagabi lang. So, yeah.
Do you like it?
Nice.
It's, yeah. It's a pretty simple game. It's an old game, diba? So,
Yeah.
pretty simple mechanics. Drafting and tableau building, basically. So, engine
Set
building.
collection, right?
Set collection.
So, that's it.
I have been recently playing so while working, or sometimes I would actually stream it, and you guys probably saw it a couple of times. Pocket Landship. So it's a solo game. Technically 1 to 2 players. The 2 players is co-op, which is, I don't know. I haven't tried
one
it.
player.
So I played the solo one. And you're basically this land ship that runs on gas, and you have these steampunks looking mechs and infantry and artillery that are invading, and you have to defend yourself. And you can survive as long as you kill all of them, and your hull and cannon is intact. You have this sort of small uh, sort of shooting artillery thing on the side. Dice rolling, you basically do place your dice depending on like what value a certain action would trigger on the card. It is almost replacing Space Hulk Death Angel for me.
Oh no. But
Oh,
that was one
And
of your Grail games.
yes, because of just like how fast and how much like replayability you can get with the game. There's not a lot of sort of build up in story, but I like how okay, I want to play, and then I have like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. It's so easy to set up because I just need the 3 cards, 9 cards for enemies, and then start rolling the dice. That's it. But there's a lot of dice mitigation as compared to
mhm.
Space Hulk, where it died, and that's it. You keep throwing away all of their rerolls, which can only happen if you're facing the enemy. If you're not facing the enemy, it doesn't work. Anyways, Denmark, what have you been playing?
Oh, I'm glad that you ask. I
Yeah.
got this recently. It's so fun.
I-
Was it
nice,
Love
good
Letter?
job.
That's Love
Yes.
Letter,
The
right?
Love
the
Letter Marvel.
uh, Marvel Gauntlet. What's the name? Infinity Gauntlet
Um,
something.
right. It's Love Letter Marvel. Whatever. No, sorry. Marvel Infinity Gauntlet. Well,
Okay,
that's what
there you
it
go.
says right here.
Yeah.
It's so fun. In this game, it's up to 6 players. It's one against everyone. So one player will be Thanos, and up to 5 will be the heroes. Basically, it's the same as Love Letter. Draw one, play one, but you're now attacking Thanos. There's life points for Thanos, life points for the heroes. Whoever gets 0 first loses. And there's another win condition for Thanos where if he can play all the 6 stones, he's gonna win. The difference also is that Thanos has his own deck of cards. The players share their own deck. Then Thanos
Mm,
always has 2 cards. Then draw
okay.
one. So what I found out was that it's either you try to hit the opponents with the character cards of Thanos, or you rush the gems immediately. So it's up to you how you're gonna play it. But there are a lot
As
of cards
Thanos.
as Thanos, but there are a lot of cards that will fight Thanos. So if players instigate the fight, there are 2 cards. They have to pick randomly which one they're gonna fight, which number they're gonna fight. So that's how it
Ah,
goes. But if
Okay.
Thanos starts the fight, Thanos picks the card that he's gonna use to fight. Then that's
okay.
how you lose life. But it's fun because it's one against many, and one of my
And at
family had
least
fun beating me up. It's like in 5 games, I won 3 times, but they're mostly from the gem condition win. So that's
cool.
how I won.
I wanted to get that. So
It's nice,
now
nice.
now it's a +1 of me getting that. And then the
Yeah, sounds like
Marvel
fun.
Splendor.
It is. It's love letter, but with the added element that now it's co-op,
It's
kinda.
our boy.
So
It's our
Wilson says
boy.
hi to Jake, and I assume this is Ron Teruel.
Yes.
What's up, Wilson? What's up?
Hi Wilson, thank you for joining.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
thank you for
joining us.
joining.
We have one in YouTube who's watching us, 4 in Facebook, 1 in Twitch, and that one will be Ron on Twitch. He's watching himself.
Boosting, gotta boost those views.
All
See,
right, so
it's funny when I first activated the Twitch, I was like, I am so old. I don't know how this thing works. Whatever, it's streaming to that. And then after the stream, I checked where's. So let me review how it played. Where's the video? Where did it go?
It
Apparently, it
doesn't
doesn't
say.
stay in
Yeah, it doesn't
in
say.
Twitch. Like,
Mhm.
I'm so old. Okay, all right.
okay,
Let's get to the main
so
topic.
why are we here? Why are
Yes,
the five
why
of
are
us
we
That's a very hard question,
gathered
man. A
here?
very philosophical question. Why are we here?
Why are we
Existential,
here?
existential
Existential
question.
question, man.
So, Jake, just a brief background for everyone. Around middle of November, I think posted the question, hey, katuwaan lang is if we can sort of collect our top tens, you extended it to like top 15, right? And maybe put some descriptions on the first one. Of course, some people actually describe every single
Yeah.
one, but
We
that's
see.
cool.
Hey, Ruben.
I
Halloween.
love it. And you then gave like a 2 week, maybe a week and a half
Yeah.
target date for people to submit everything. How many people actually submitted?
So in the end, there were 62 people who submitted their
Ooh.
lists.
So 62 people, and then I think you also placed that in one of the comments. 62 people, and around like 360 something uh, unique
Unique game.
entries, right?
Yep.
Unique games. So how did you? Why did first of all, like, how did this idea come up? Um, how did you think like, hey, maybe we should have a Philippine top 10, and I should be the one to do it? So how did
I should be the one to do it.
Second
So much
part, not
time.
sure part,
I have so
not
much
part.
time on my hand.
Yeah, sure. The second part, not sure that's part of my ideas, but sure.
well, probably you're right. Maybe the idea came in first, and then realizing, oh no, I'm gonna be the one to do this. So
Yeah,
how did
yeah.
you come up with the idea?
Yeah, no, I mean, sure. I mean, I've always been curious, the sila Tom Vassell, the Dice Tower, every year, di ba, they would, I've been playing since 2010, and every year they'll have like a People's Choice Top 100, right? Wherein
Right.
you'd have reviewers, them, Tom Vassell, sila Sam, sila Z, they would give their top 100, but also on the side, there's this other poll where they ask Dice Tower members to submit their
The people's choice.
votes. Yeah, the people's choice. And the results of those polls always seemed much more legit to me, actually. Much more interesting.
Yes.
Hey, Benj, what's up? So yeah, so I've always, that's why I wanted to do it. Sabi ko, baka sa Philippines, they, in BGG, top si Gloomhaven, etc. So sa naisip ko, baka sa Philippines, we might have a different top 100, right? Why not? But, so that's really how the idea started. And then this People's Choice concept has just become so popular. It's not Dice Tower does it anymore. If you go to BGG, there's also like a top People's Choice solo gamers guild.
Right.
So
Yes.
everybody does it now. So sabi ko, why not the Philippines?
Awesome. Awesome. And I think, do you think this is something that could be like an annual tradition? Was it a
Not
lot of
like
work?
Work complete.
I'm gonna assume it was.
There were days I'd wake up and shit, di pa ako nagpo-post. Oh my god. Ako lunch na, di pa ako nagpo-post. Ganun, parang.
Right.
Yeah, annual. I mean, that's certainly the goal, right? This is a good start. This was like, you could say, this was getting our feet wet, see if it will work, and it was a huge success, right? And then
Right.
obviously, if it's a success, you want to do it every year. But one thing that I'm always a fan of is every time you do something again, you want to improve on it, right? You don't want to do the same thing again. So obviously,
Why didn't we incorporate that in this?
Actually,
one?
that's why I had a question related to that.
yeah.
So, I guess two-part question. First off is, how did you go about, like, walk us through how you got the data? And then
Yeah.
the second
Ah,
part
that's
is that, for like the next go around, what do you think you might do differently?
Sure. So when I envisioned it, because obviously when I said, okay, this is gonna take a lot of counting. So that's the huge biggest problem, right?
Did you
If-
do it manually? Do you have a whiteboard that
So,
you're setting like one here?
Yeah, you know the meme? You know the meme yung parang when kapag you're thinking about something complex, ganun ka.
Yes.
I was doing that.
The numbers.
Kasi obviously, the funny thing with this is you want it to be more people. The more people who vote, the better.
Right.
But the more people who vote, the more work.
The more
obviously,
numbers.
counting.
Right.
More work. Yeah.
But from the very beginning, my plan was I was just gonna pivot table everything. That's why I asked everybody to send their lists in email through text. Like, don't give me Excel sheets, don't give me chat, etc. Just give me from top to bottom your 1 to 15. I'll copy paste that in Excel, and then I'll just put the parang the ano ba yung name niya talaga sa BGG para meron kang uniform name across. Because people, you'll be surprised. People call Tolkien 10 different names. For example,
Oh no, because it has stuff that follows the title.
exactly.
People who
The
like,
Mayan
let's say,
prophecies,
there
right?
is the resistance,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
resistance Avalon,
Exactly. So,
resistance Avalon. Like,
yeah, exactly. So, Benj,
All
if
right.
you're watching, you were one of the people who got the spelling of Tolkien wrong, by the way. The apostrophe was after the T. Okay, it's not
It's like that.
Yeah,
Sulking.
exactly, exactly. So what I do is I copy paste all of that, and then you make a uniform name for Tolkien, for example, to the right, etc. And once I have that very very long column, I just pivot tabled everything.
all
Nice.
right. So, you mentioned that you got like 15 titles from people, and you got about 60 something responses, right? 62. Did I hear that right?
62. Yep.
Do you feel that the sample size was enough already to kind of build the list from?
Uh, I honestly think it's two. I think there's two ways looking at it. One, it's really nice to get like a Philippine opinion together. So if you ask me, does this like encapsulate Philippine opinion? Good, I think, because Gloomhaven obviously is not the thing. It's not a huge thing in the Philippines, just like in the US, right? But I don't think the sample is big
Yeah.
enough. I think the sample also, I think between 20 to 1, if some new votes came in, that order could change easily.
Yeah.
So I think
Yep.
Okay.
I think there's definitely still plenty of room to jump around in the rankings.
What
But
number was
same,
Gloomhaven in?
How do you think you might be able to get more
Hang
responses
on, I have
on
the
the
list.
second run?
Can
oh,
you
I don't
send the
know.
list? What number was
So
Gloomhaven in?
is there in the chat?
Okay,
If you go to the chat and then go to the comments, I pasted the list there.
I can
Okay,
paste
okay.
it also in our chat here.
All right.
Just go
Okay.
ahead
Go ahead.
so that Denmark can have a reference.
Ah,
Yeah.
Oops! Whoa! Wait,
good.
nope, that doesn't work. It cuts. Sorry, guys. You're not seeing what we're talking about here.
Right, right. I'll
What
just go
is
get it
that?
in the chat.
I will
What
message
is
it
this?
in.
This is lutong na
Hang on. Anyway, going back. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think to start, it's I think it's normal to that things start smaller
Yeah.
than how. But imagine if like 500 people responded.
Imagine exactly. I'm just imagining right now the pivot table for that.
Maybe you might have to make an investment of like upgrading your PC or something just to be able
My Excel
to
skills.
yeah.
Oh,
So
but to that effect, I've already gotten offers like in the middle of the countdown for people to jump in and help next year and say, "Hey, I have an idea how we will count
Hey,
this
that's
better."
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Someone has messaged me already, told me, "Hey, maybe we can scrape data from BGG. So in the future, we can just have like an online entry." And it's like, fine. I'm open to ideas, sabi ko.
yeah, I think I also offered just
Yes.
on like your pure coding crunch, whatever you need,
Yeah,
whatever. Because
Mhm.
I would assume when it started you wouldn't know exactly like how it would flow in, right?
Yep.
Like are people actually gonna put in? I mean, first one that you had to tackle was phrasing that. Is it the 100 games of
Yes.
2020?
How to speak English, basically. Grammar was the first challenge.
Well,
Oh,
well,
yeah. Believe
I
me,
would
that was another.
suggest using what Dice Tower does when they always use the of all time, like top 100 of
No,
all time.
I
yeah, but
eventually got there. Eventually.
yes, yes. So the of all time was there. Then 2020. So that one really well. Now it was clear, but uh, so do people actually also mention like so when they started explaining how they love their game and all of that? Did you actually read through all of their entries? What are the memorable ones for you? I Because I noticed for each of the segments, so you started posting when you crunch the numbers, he started posting on a 20-day
Yeah,
cadence,
daily,
right?
more or less. Every day I
Oh,
posted something.
which is a great build up, and it was actually fun to watch. And also, I like that you figured out how to link documents in Facebook. It's like, what? This is amazing.
I
I
linked
can
the
actually go
previous. You
back
mean
in
the
time.
previous post? Yeah, the previous
Yeah,
post.
the previous was like, yes. So that's why I pasted the list. I know that you commented in somewhere like the complete 100, but I actually was on a daily basis copy pasting the
Oh,
daily progress. So I was like, hey, cool. So I now have day 20, day 18. Oh, it's this now.
Mm.
So what are the memorable comments of gamers that you can think of at the moment?
I think so what the idea behind doing that was I asked everybody for their number one game to like talk a bit about it, like give me three sentences for you talking about the game. And my sense was this is the game where they would like be the most passionate about, right? It's the game where they
Yeah.
were like, this is the best game since sliced bread. Parang gaganon sila. So, and true enough, that's what everybody on the number one tried to do, right? Because my thinking was if I ask everybody to describe their top 15, they wouldn't have the same passion as the number one. So
Mm.
that's
Yeah.
why, for example, some people when they like voted for Great Western Trail number five, so some of them actually wrote something, but not very interesting. They just say a great euro, something like that. They don't say
Amazing.
they don't say
Awesome.
so that's why I knew from the very beginning this is a good way to like have blurbs, have people talk about their favorite games. I think the most memorable for me actually, and I'm gonna do this tomorrow, is the number one games that didn't make it into the list because there were some very passionate write-ups of people of these obscure niche
Ooh.
games that
Mhm.
or just not so popular games. And then I
Mhm.
thought, well, these are great write-ups. These are, I want to make sure these get highlighted. I'm gonna post that
Mhm.
tomorrow also.
Nice,
Nice.
nice. And I think that will be interesting because again, there are so many great games. I mean, this is a top 100, but looking at the list, they're a pretty awesome list. Like
Yes.
having that
It's
100 games in your collection, that's a
you can't
pretty
go wrong.
awesome. There's
Yep.
nothing. It's
Right.
it's a, the Philippine taste, at least for the current sample size, is pretty good. Right? There's
It's
no
it's
like,
it's a
oh, I
mixture it's a mixture of classic games and modern soon to be
yes,
classic games.
Yep.
yes,
Especially in the top 20s, it's almost split down the middle with you see Dominion, you see
yeah.
Azul, those they're like split
Yeah.
in the middle.
Yeah.
So
And one thing I'm gonna add there is because I was asking people to rank their favorite games. Like, don't give me the top 10 of what Tom Vassell said was the best game. Don't
right.
give me the
Mhm.
top 10 of what you think is number 10 out of 10 in BGG. Don't put Gloomhaven just because BGG says it's Gloom.
Yes.
Like, get in touch with your feelings. Tell me
Get in touch with your
what's giving you joy.
feelings.
What gave you joy?
Touch
What
with
sparked joy? Diba?
feelings.
Give me that list of 15 games that sparked joy for you, and then send that to me. So that's why
I I
we
should
take
have
comments.
submitted my list, man. If I got in touch with my feelings,
Oh, the good feelings, Avi, the one that evoke good
wait,
feelings.
there are good feelings.
That's why I had to cut you off.
Please tell me about these feelings. I have yet to hear about these. Where do you
He
find these good
he didn't
feelings?
he didn't watch Inside Out yet, so but I was looking
So
through the list and I think we're really different from the US. Our tastes
Oh
are really
yes.
different from the
Although
US
although
and
there
Europe.
are there are still a lot of, I would say, like evergreen titles here that
Mhm.
I would
Mhm.
100% agree deserve to be on the list. There are some that are not
Yeah.
my preference, but I can see why people like playing
They're
them.
exploding
Yeah.
kittens right
Well,
there.
yeah.
Well, no,
I have a
that's
question. I
that's
have a question
technically
for
the
Jake though.
bottom of the
All
list. So
right. What's your question then?
Yeah. So, yung the one where you gave uh what do you call this? A clues for the next game. Did that start with the number 15?
That was
I think
awesome.
Or
I,
did,
Yeah, 15.
or did that start or did that start midway between when you started the 15 days?
That started, so I knew from the beginning that I wanted to run
Mm.
through the list quick. Like at the start, we were running 30 games, 20 games. And I
Yes.
thought once we started doing the top 15, just so it matches everybody's like voting, I do one at a time. And then because I'm gonna write something, might as well make it interesting. So it started with like very high level clues, right? And then but everybody was like enjoying it.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
and then people were like, meh, this is like Great Western Trail, the next one, meh. So ako na-challenge ako, di ba? Kasi parang,
You have to outsmart them. You have to
okay,
be smarter than
ganun
them.
na, madali pala yung clue ko, ha, eto. Kailangan mo ng Morse code para maintindihan. Parang ganun. So ganun siya. Ganun nangyari yung code. I think people, there was actually at some point during the countdown, na pag-post ko nung post, parang people didn't even talk about the game that won. They just started guessing about it.
The
Yeah,
next one.
exactly.
I have,
Exactly.
I have a question. At the top 15, were you surprised? Were there any games that you were surprised that were at the top 15?
At the start, I already had a sense. Like I already pegged that one of the top one would either be Blood Rage, Scythe, or Wingspan. So those three were kind of
It's Happy's favorite game.
Yeah. Bird games.
the bird games. Yeah?
All right.
But-
So those three were
yeah,
were
and then surprising to me, for sure, was Spirit Island, for example. I didn't expect it to be
Yeah.
so popular.
I was actually quite surprised. One, that it had that enough reach locally. I don't see it as often in the stores. They
steep
are
learning
available,
curve.
I only know one person who has a copy of that game.
but sometimes that's how it works. It's like they're so passionate about it. I gotta answer that list. I have to make it. So
Spirit Island
That's
was
one.
the only game where there were 4 first place votes, and all first place voters wrote something. So
Oh, that's how much they love that game.
that's how much they love that game, and it's kind of si Wilson, Wingspan fan, Bird Games.
Murder.
One of the few games. One of the few games Wilson has played.
Another fan of birds.
Yeah, and that's the goal with this countdown, right? For us, like us gamers, to kind of discover these games. Na, these are popular games, pala. I want to try these games. So that's one Spirit Island, and then the other one was, I guess, Brass and Power Grid was surprising to me because I thought Brass was a good game, but I didn't think like people would put it like top 5 on their list.
I know.
Yeah, I was like, okay. And turned out that Brass is the most popular Euro in the Philippines, right? Most popular viewer Euro. If you think
So
about
far,
Yeah,
among those
Euro.
60 plus who
right.
answered, right?
Yeah, so far, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and I was happy to see Power Grid there. So like, yes.
in Power Grid for all it's like how old is it now? It's like 10 plus years. It's
Around-
still
around
How many
Sorry,
maps have been
That's
released?
what I was saying earlier, that there are evergreens in that list, and I really think that Power Grid is one of those.
Right.
yeah.
And
I'm just waiting for
Which
Power
again-
Grid to release like a worldwide edition.
Power the whole world.
Power edition.
They need to make a Philippine map.
Brown out
Yeah,
That'll
brown.
be, that'll be so confusing and really
no,
difficult.
it will. Whenever you do the power there, it's not from the same source. It's always from different, and then I have to buy the other company as well.
Like, oh,
Yes,
Power
I know.
Grid Napocor edition.
may haggling with politicians na ano.
It's the
Like
first
the
Power
chance,
Grid that has an event die.
NPAs who are gonna bomb the sites. So
I'm
you have
gonna
to
I'm
pay
gonna
them off.
share the list. So this is the one I mentioned that I was collecting. So maybe I don't know if it was super updated. So that's why I think you already changed the tie breaks so that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't. But this one is still from like the original post. So betrayal, good that it's there. I like that.
That's 101.
Oh wow, Dungeons and Dragons. Wait, when you say adventure system, do you mean D&D the
There.
game, or is this the board
Castle
games?
Ravenloft, Legend of Drizzt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There.
yeah.
that version.
Oh, the board game versions. Okay,
Yeah,
because
board
if
game
D&D
editions,
was in the 90s, wow, that would hurt.
Oh, somebody voted. It didn't make the top 100. Somebody voted the pen and paper RPG, Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
This
there
is
was
I was
Star.
surprised for this one, startups, because it's like it's a bit obscure. Again,
It
not
is,
not,
but it's really good. This is
but
from
it's
Oink, right?
really good.
Startup
Yeah,
is from Oink, right?
yes, it's from my
It's a really
games,
good
and it's
game.
always out of stock. And surprising, that was like one of the first surprises for me. Uh, of course,
so
Dungeon Mayhem.
22
The
points.
others.
So
The
so you see
others.
this scored 22 points. So 22 points, you can assume around 2 to 3 people voted for it. So there's
Mhm.
2 to 3
Okay.
people who like startups, for example. So that's
Startups
interesting.
as number one.
I
As
Those
get,
their
two people.
I don't remember. I actually have the Excel open here. So the pivot table is ready.
Do you guys, you want to share that? You can share it if you want.
You can see the names. I can't do it. So there were
Oh,
two
okay,
people who
okay,
voted
okay, okay,
startups.
okay. Then I'll just do this. Okay, cool. Got it, got it.
yeah.
So startups,
But
two
bang,
people.
like, can we like ask
Will
who
it be
likes it?
embarrassing for them to find out that they voted for it as number one? It's like,
Them out of the show.
Di
What?
naman, di ba? But there were 2 people who voted. I just checked
oh,
now.
Ron Teruel voted. That is
Uh,
number one. Ew.
Oh, shout out
We're
to the
here to
Agricola team.
criticize what you voted for.
Yeah. Shout out to the Agricola gang. There were just 2 people who voted Agricola, and then they both voted Agricola as number one. So,
Whoa.
Yeah.
shout out to
Nice.
those Agricola fans.
I
This
want to
one
know
was
who
a
this
little
they have
Stockpile.
person is. I want to play. I want to play with them.
The others,
The Dungeon
stockpile.
Mayhem, it was a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought it would be a bit higher.
Sidereal Confluence.
But this is awesome.
Have any of you guys played this game?
No.
I have played it once. I have played it once.
And
It's
Number
high.
84 does not deserve to be on any list.
the what?
Hey,
This is Javi loves this game.
Yeah. See? The Philippine people have spoken.
with
Cryptid.
bone surgery.
Denmark is
Cryptid.
vindicated. So
See?
those are on 97. Just one is great. This one was my first sad.
That's
Like it
that's
was the
Ron's hurt.
saddest. It's like, oh,
Look at that one first
What? That's Ron. One first place vote. That's Ron.
that's me. That one first place. That's me, guys.
That's
Did you
Ron.
put a
Why?
I don't remember if you put like a write up. You didn't put a write up, I
I
think.
did put it
Okay.
right.
That's Ron right
It's
there.
like
That's one
passionate-
first place vote.
Passionate.
I'm the only one apparently.
Arboretum.
Millennium Blade.
Millennium Blade.
Wait, no,
DC
why are
deck
we
building game.
title?
No, so DC deck building is definitely out there as a very common, like a lot of people get to try. But it's interesting to like that it's side by side by the gallerist.
And
And
Zimbabwe.
it's like those are like quite like the
They're
jump.
from the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. This one is even cool because the fact that it's not even printed yet.
So this was interesting, right? So this was like kinda at the very start, I laid out like guidelines on what games to vote. And I said you cannot vote games that are not released. So obviously Blood on the Clock Tower wasn't released. Actually, I wasn't
Yeah.
aware because people were actually playing it a lot na, di ba? Like there
Yes.
were reviews for it, etc. So I think if I had to do it again, I'd clarify that print and play is allowed because I think what happened in Blood on the Clock Tower is a lot of print and play kind of
Yes,
yes.
gaming, right? So, but
Yep, yep.
technically, by the original rules, Blood on the Clock Tower shouldn't like even be voted. But anyway,
I
something-
already see,
an improvement.
But there's-
Sure.
I see the
But there's
lines.
so many there's so many people that are playing this game, and yeah, it's really a good one. So you got
baby.
Kingdom Death is there.
What?
Good, Aeon's End. Then we jump to
KDM.
Agricola, Dixit, Dice Forge.
Orange.
Yes. Woohoo!
Wow,
Kyo,
Cool
Kyo.
is still, Cool is still kicking, man.
Yes,
32
because
know.
a lot of people, this is really their entry level game. Cool.
That's
Agree.
true. That's true. And maybe it's
Yes.
something that still reminds them. But I like that they kind of jump like clumped up together with Deception. So it's kind of near. Blood with the clock tower, blood on the clock tower.
This is
Cool.
the
Deception.
party
Killer
game
Hong Kong.
segment.
Maybe in Dixon it's also here. Could be. Could be. I don't know.
Jaipur is surprising. That's
Yeah, so
two-player
I
game.
think-
It's right there.
I think if you see like an old game here, an old game usually is here because a lot of people voted for it. They might not have ranked high, but a lot of
Yeah.
people voted for it.
So by
And
sheer
then if you see like a
quantity.
newish game here, newish game Kickstarter, it's probably there's just this one person who really liked it, ranked it high, and then there were
That's
a couple
number
of others.
62. Their hate. Someone must have done
Exactly.
this. This is my game. It's the voice of the generation.
It's better than sliced bread.
Good segue into hate.
I
Yeah,
I
this
paid
one.
tons of money for it. I'm gonna vote number one.
Might as well.
Bawal ako tumawa kasi kilala ko kung sino yung nag-vote ng hate. Hindi ako tumatawa. Kilala kita.
Might as well let the world know.
No judgment. No
No
judgment.
judgment.
Yeah, no, of course. We're just going through the titles on the list here. It's not
So-
any critique of what people
Wow.
voted for.
This
People
one,
voted for a
of
feast for
Odin.
Odin.
I know.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's good.
59.
But this is out of print, right?
There's a second version.
Oh, okay, okay. But it's so old.
Oh, number 55, so deserving. Raiders of the North Sea should be higher though.
Wait,
Yeah.
don't skip my number one. 57, Small World.
World.
That's me.
Small
One
World.
person
I
is
know.
vote.
Wait. Let me,
Small World
Then-
shirt right here.
Did you write your own
Small
write-up?
World T-shirt.
Did you write your own write-up?
I did. Pero ano lang, hindi nila alam na ako yon kasi nakaka-hate.
Go spend.
Pero ako yan.
Go
He's
spend it.
he's gonna post it tomorrow. Number one.
He's one of the person who said it. Some people wrote really good about certain games. They need to be exposed
Yeah.
and they have to learn about this. And that number one, Small World.
Just
Small
to
world.
since we turned the
Yeah.
list off for a sec, I just wanted to
It's my
kind of ask
list.
another question.
Yeah.
With this entire thing that you did, what was the outcome that you were hoping to get? Versus now that the list is out and you have the results. So like, what were you not expecting to get out of it, and then ergo, what were you expecting that may have not happened?
becoming an admin in PBE.
That was the ultimate goal.
Check. Yes, that one.
Takeover begins. Sabi ko nga. Kidding.
First
man.
the
No,
list, then the group.
When you decided to take this on, what were you hoping the outcome would be?
No, this is going to sound like a lot of BS altruism. But when I started this, I wanted to really just highlight certain games. To parang kumbaga, if you do a list of what Filipinos like, then you'll have a list that has like social proof, right? This is what Filipinos like. And then somebody who's like debating what game he wants to play can like look at the list and say, oh, look at Brass, number 5, number 6. The US, Tom Vassal is saying Brass is good, but here Brass is being said to be really good by like my fellow like local countrymen, whatever, right?
Yep.
So that was really my goal. Na people when they look at the list, they'll walk away thinking, hey, I have to try this game because Filipinos like this game. And true
I was
enough,
saying in our
Yeah, go
chat that get ready because there are games that are gonna be spiking by request, like looking for because
Yeah.
of this. And recently, I saw like before we went live, like 6 minutes, someone's looking for VT Essential Edition. And I'm
Exactly.
like, that's got to be the result. Because for the past few months, no one's been looking for VT. It's like that since 2 years ago.
What do you
And then
mean,
now
few
it's,
months?
it's right
For a
up
few
there.
years. It's been years since
It's been a year,
BT was
see?
hype.
I'm like, that's because of the list. It's
Yeah,
impossible. It's not
absolutely.
because of the list.
Absolutely because of the
LF,
list.
LF viticulture. LF
Yeah.
oil viticulture.
Essential
Yeah.
eds.
Essential oils.
So I guess that the second half of the question, that
Yeah.
now that everything's done, was there something you were hoping you were gonna get from doing this that didn't happen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Something I didn't
That you
get.
were expecting out of taking on this task that didn't
I think
happen?
more of almost. Like I think initially, there were only like 40 votes, and I was really pegging it to be around 60 votes actually. So the last surge of like 20 plus votes happened in like a day and a half. So it
Oh no.
almost it almost didn't like kind of be like this big project. It was like okay, only 40 people who kind of participated. But I think in the 11th hour, people started pushing everybody to kind of vote. So here we are. The votes
Mhm.
came in, so I'm pretty
Yeah,
happy with it.
I wish I cast votes. I
How
didn't
do you
get.
think would it be different? Sorry. How
Um,
different do you think it would be for the
so for
last 20
example,
votes if they weren't
this is
in?
very interesting. I mean, it's Scythe won like by a landslide, right? Scythe was like ahead by like 18 points, so at least 2 votes ahead of Blood Rage. But for the longest
Ooh,
time, the countdown.
electoral college
Yeah.
difference.
Exactly, may ganun. Kasi every day, I was like, para to save me the trouble of counting it later on, I was counting it every day na. I was tallying it.
Yeah.
And Blood Rage was ahead all the way. Blood Rage,
Oh wow!
yeah, Blood Rage was ahead for like 75% of the time. And then suddenly, all these the Scythe Legion kind of came in. And then,
That
Yeah.
was Dwayne. That was Dwayne's
Yeah,
number one.
that was probably Dwayne and Denmark working together.
And Alvin. Actually, it's Alvin. Just Alvin all the way.
Hands down, Alvin.
yeah. And
Yeah,
I
with
think
the
I think it was the
metal
right number
meds.
one at the end of the day. I think it was the right number
Oh
one.
yeah,
When we
Right.
yeah.
posted it today, did you just see like the passion of all the site players
Mhm.
when they were replying? This is sabi ko gigil, di ba?
Mhm.
Grabe yung gigil. So I'm very happy. Yeah, I'm very happy with the players.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
disappointed me. You said number one was Gugong. I was like, yeah, Gugong. Oh.
Gugong!
Oh, bribery and
Gugong.
giving gifts was not number one.
If you voted,
Oh.
probably.
No, I was gonna vote for
Legion.
Scythe. Scythe would be my number one.
Yeah.
That's my
I
number
agree.
one.
Yeah. So
So
I mean that's the fun part. Maybe next year that will be interesting if it's like can you do rolling counts like it's like live results and stuff. It will be like elections. That will be interesting.
Elections.
So
I
yeah,
think one of
you
the
can run it for like an hour or 2 hours, and then that's it.
yeah.
Would
It
you
updates.
consider splitting the list by genre or by like game type? Let's just say like for party or solo or something like that.
Looking for Scythe and Scythe Lords. Scythe Legion. The Scythe Legion. Would I split it by genre? Maybe, I don't know. Do you guys think that's something interesting if we split it by genre? Because I think right
uh,
now you can do it on your own, right? You can get the list, find out what's the top rated euro in the top 100. We could do that,
Mhm.
but I
yeah,
think
I was
just
actually thinking of like inputting this in a BGG list. I think you can do those. I haven't tried so that the references and the links to the games could already click. I don't know how to do it yet, but I've seen people normally will do a list.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so going back to the list, uh, Dice Throne is there. I am happy about. Well, okay, so Twilight Struggle. Um, Maybe if we talked
Forever on the
about
list.
it's forever on the list, but Jake, if it was maybe 2015, this wouldn't
Yeah,
be the case, right?
yeah,
Like
super popular.
back then, with all of the tournaments, the Twilight Struggle tournaments, that this would have been clearly number one. I am very happy about the Godfather being in the list because it really deserves, a special mention.
And
Nemesis,
sorry, quickly on Twilight Struggle, the only reason it's there also is because it had a recent digital version, di ba? So because of the recent digital
Yes.
version, people kind of rediscovered this game, I think.
And I think they
yeah,
changed a few things, right? In the new, I know they
Ayun, hindi ko alam.
updated it. There are a few new rules or new actions. I think that you can do. They removed some and changed it with something new.
I think there's a new deluxe edition. There's quite a few versions of the deluxe edition already. So Nemesis is there. Tricarion, which is like very
Interesting.
Kickstarter. So, but
Okay.
yeah, but Sheriff, great. Champions of Midgard, role
Party
player.
games. Here we
Great.
go.
So I think
Role
starting
player.
at the 40s, that's when you start seeing like multiple votes really, and you
Right.
know lots of people like a group at least likes this game a lot. So I'm surprised
Yeah,
what Precarious, Sheriff of yung mga ganyan. I'm started getting surprised na.
yeah, and
That
then
one,
like when
Death
I
May
saw
Die.
Lispo,
Death May Die is too low.
really,
Pipeline
Well,
is there.
I'm
What
not
was
sure if
that?
enough people got to play it, but then
That's
Champions of
why.
Midgard,
That's why.
yeah, probably same thing with Lisbo, where it's such a big game, and I only see it played during our Bacon,
Right.
and so every
Scroll
Bacon
down.
there's gonna be like a
Scroll
table
down a
there.
little. See Forbidden Stars. That's from passionate people who own that.
Yeah.
That's why it's right there at
Yes.
number 38.
Gigil.
Yeah.
Gigil in Tagalog.
And of course, pandemic. I'm happy that it's up there.
Surprised
On the
it's that
30s
low,
already.
actually.
Uh,
It's not.
maybe on the relevance now because of just like the amount of good games. So that I think why it's not in the top
Anymore.
already because of just like all of the other great games. I mean, Marvel Champion, the card game, is such a crowd favorite at the moment.
Yeah.
Wow,
Interesting.
Art.
Those, like
It's
modern
number
art
36.
beats Marvel Champions. Why? Why?
Party games.
Yeah,
Party
yeah.
games.
Modern
Again.
art is really surprising. Like I,
Yeah.
Isn't it a bidding game? Like right?
That's
So yeah, auction game. Yeah, Five Tribes. So that makes
That's good.
sense.
5 tries.
Zombie Side, especially the app,
Okay.
guys. Check out the app. That's fun. Here's
King of
Shol.
Tokyo, sure.
yeah.
Here's the Shulkin, the Mayan calendar,
One first place vote.
Magic
and
the
yeah,
Gathering.
Magic the Gathering.
That is,
So
I
much.
have to say, that is really low.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
really low. I was
No.
expecting it at around 15
If
onwards.
Again.
it would allow me to take this list over to the Magic community, I would be more
Yeah.
than
No, you have to-
And Magic was beaten by Mage Knight.
so just for on record, I voted for Magic. It was in my top 15. So I'm contributing to this score of Magic.
And just,
Yes,
just
51
looking
points.
down that the fact that Century beat Magic
Yeah. See, Javi, come
Go
over
let
to
me
my...
do that.
for me to
Come
go
over.
start setting cars on my street on fire.
I think people don't associate Magic with board games.
Harbinger
that's
of
why
the
I think
apocalypse,
it's lower.
Century Spice beat Magic.
I think next year actually Magic goes up because I
But you
think
see,
you're right,
right
Denmark. I think
After Century,
people thought
They
people
don't
thought they couldn't
associate it
vote.
with board
Yeah.
games. It's
But-
a game on its
Card-
own.
Yeah. But
It's not even a
rules.
card game.
But my rule was
next year for sure. Right after the travesty that was Century, people actually smartened up and brought Rising Sun. And whoever gave it that first place vote, you and me, buddy, same team.
Magic the Gathering. Yeah. Magic the Gathering.
So Jake, you were saying something.
No. I was just gonna say na people because the rules were if it has an entry on BGG, you can vote for it. So just to avoid people voting Posoidos or something, right? So it was an entry on Magic the Gathering. So Magic the Gathering has an entry on BGG. So it's actually
Right.
fair game to vote for it.
And our number one game, Tong Its.
Philippine
right?
Tong Eats. Number 2,
Exactly.
Dama.
Sipa.
Number 3, Mahjong.
It might have an entry on BGG, Mahjong, actually.
Cara Cruz. Number 4. Concordia. That's
So that's good. Denmark, check this out. Cartographers.
Yes, that's right. Cartographer is
That's
one of
because of
the.
you. You don't
That's
stop
not my number
talking
one.
about it. I know,
Yeah.
but you,
One person out there.
But honestly, Cartographers is really good.
It
That
is.
I have to
There we go.
contest. Tapestry. That should have switched.
so we have here top pastry.
I think that's passion.
Passion.
Oh yeah,
That's a
Giggle.
oh yeah,
passion vote.
yeah. Agree. Definitely, it's their favorite, and they will really go out, and which is
Because
also kind of what's nice about it. Basically, everybody's voice you can see it here, and um, maybe it's not like a landslide win, but it's still not that. That means that if I buy the top 25 games, I'm still good. And in fact, all the way to almost
top
100, except
26
for maybe
games.
the last one, the exploding kittens.
But in
I'll probably avoid
Tapestry,
that.
I know in the Philippines it's really divided. It's either you like it or you hate it.
I'm on the
That's
hated
where-
camp. I'm on the hated camp. Yes, I agree.
There's no there's if you ask people, do you like Tapestry? No one will answer, no one will answer that. It's either yeah, this is so good or no, it's so bad. You can't find people who will say, so
Yeah.
so. It's either you like it or
I
you
can
hate
say
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wait, I'm part of the best society.
No, I'm saying most of the
Um,
people. But
Yeah.
people who love Tapestry really love Tapestry. That's one thing I can say.
I think I just got to play very similar games that kind of give me the civilization feel better and faster. That's why I'm on that side where it's a little bit of a pass for me. But again, production systems wise, you can't go wrong because it's like, hey, that's Railroad Revolution. That's all of the tracks and all of the systems that they played. You can't. They're all pretty good. So yeah, good choice for Tapestry. I like that Chinatown beat it because so it's like, yeah, good job, Chinatown.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Overproduction followed by Chinatown.
Yeah, it's buttons on a spot.
Look,
And then
even
we
after
did.
it's wax, really, the production is going down. Dominion.
Woo. I like that it's kind of interesting, how the deck builders started to clump up too. That's also sometimes interesting with data that
Dominion,
they
Clan.
kind of
Mm.
in a certain
Quacks is a deck builder.
back building. So
Yes, it's
right?
kind of
So
like a deck
back
I
builder
would,
too.
I would be remiss if I didn't call out architects getting 69 points.
Clank should be
Eh.
higher.
Clank
Sure,
should
yeah.
be higher.
Maybe 69 points.
No,
for
but
Clan.
but that's you look at the top 20 that you have to contend with. I know
What are
Clan should be
theirs?
higher, but that's
Gloomhaven
like
shouldn't be there.
these are pretty much evergreens already. We're talking about Ticket to Ride.
Oh, Gloomhaven
Sure,
is combined with Jaws of the Lion. Wait, which has more votes, Gloomhaven or Jaws?
Gloomhaven. There was just
Gloomhaven,
one
sure.
vote for Joss.
Okay.
Mm.
Ticket to
But
Ride.
that's the number one favorite game of the solar gamers of the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken.
Of course.
It's
Gloomhaven.
Mage Knight. Di ba Mage Knight?
Sorry,
Mage
Mage Knight. Mage
Yeah,
Knight,
Mage
and then Jaws was somewhere in the top 10.
Yeah.
If I'm
TTR.
Oo nga pala. Mage Knight nga pala. Okay.
Lords of Waterdeep.
Lords of Waterdeep, Arkham Horror, the card
Woohoo!
game. Woo! Yes. Everdell. Wait. Tapos Root. Talaga yung skip yung Great Western Trail. No?
Uy, nasa top 15 po
Great
yan.
Western
Top
Trail.
15 po yan.
That's the one
Yeah.
that
It has,
beat out
it has no
Arkham
points or
Horror.
listed votes. It just got in there.
That's the one that beat out
Great
Arkham Horror.
Western Trail.
Arkham
I
Horror. Arkham Horror, guys, you have a community. Why didn't you vote for this?
I know.
There's plenty of you.
I like Great Western Trail because it's the only game where you get to say I cry for cows. So I like it.
I'm actually surprised with Everdell. It should be
Well,
I
I
It's
think
a
Everdell
very
did really well this
pretty
year.
popular game. Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
expansions kept it relevant and in people's collections.
See,
It had good
Yeah.
look at
circulation.
Ronan's face. See, that agrees with me. It's like, why the hell is it number 14?
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
I agree.
I mean, I
Maybe not.
understand now why it's number 14 in everybody's in this list because like Everdell is like flooded the community with their expansions with the
Yeah, that's why
Kickstarter.
there's a lot
Yeah,
of
I mean,
attention.
also it's not a bad game. It's like it's a very solid gateway game. That's why I
Tableau,
think
deck
a lot.
builder.
Yeah, it's like a lot of
And
people
if
are like
they can
big
just
into
improve
plus
that
the production,
that 3D
right?
tree into a flat tree where it can function with more usability and less clunkiness, it will go number one.
Yeah, there was actually a time that I wanted a wooden like I wanted the laser cut wooden tree. I
Oh,
don't know
Are
why
you
really?
it didn't.
serious? You're gonna buy that
Yeah, so
one?
no, I
I
mean
want
it's a
it on the
sturdier
ground.
one.
Yeah, because that's the
Like I
main
mean,
gripe about it.
Number
if
13
like
should be
But
higher.
yes, root.
It should be
That's
higher.
amazing that it's there. Good
root is an
job.
acquired taste. Root is
But
an
it's
But
acquired
interesting, right?
taste
Root
But
has had the surge recently,
because of
Yeah.
the
especially
app,
with
because
the
of the
app.
app. Because of the app.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's
people were really looking for
definitely
Root.
now you can learn the game without trying to read through all of the
Yeah,
rules because the game teaches you and
exactly.
now like, oh, okay, that's how you're supposed to play it. So
Se-
the because it
Seven Wonders, right? Okay, go on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, because
Evergreen. Yeah.
Denmark started to not like root because it's a chore to teach,
I sold it.
right?
I have a
not
quick question about
not gonna
number
do
12.
this again for 10 times.
Jake,
Yeah.
quick question for you, number 12.
Yep.
This doesn't seem to have any like parentheses for Seven Wonders. Is this not combined with Duel? Or
No,
this is just the
that's
straight
just
up
seven.
Seven Wonders? Okay.
That's just Seven Wonders. Yeah, exactly.
No
Duel was somewhere in
Yeah,
the list.
expansion, all inclusive.
It's surprising that Seven Wonders, Among, Pandemic, and Ticket to Ride, they were the batchmates, right? Dominion. This is the highest one
Which
that went
one?
through.
Yeah.
It's Sushi Go for real gamers.
So again, full disclosure, Seven Wonders was my number two.
wait, may kulang akong number.
What was
So
number
Oh my
Oh,
11?
gosh,
what's the number 11?
sorry.
oh, it's number 11. Have you seen it? Oh, surprise! Grand reveal. I don't know. Do you have it? Are you checking it? I'm
No,
gonna check. I'm gonna
We're
check.
hang on,
waiting for
hang
you.
on.
It's Twilight Imperium.
Oh, TI.
Oh,
TI.
TI.
TI4 is
All versions of it, I suppose. All versions of
yeah,
it.
but I think most people just played the fourth and maybe a bit of the third. I think.
That's amazing. I only see people play TI during Bacon or conventions, and it's number 11.
No,
Yeah.
man, there are people playing it all the time, Denmark. It's just
I
that the
don't
games
know.
take
That's
so
what.
long
No, no, no,
that by
no.
the time they just leave the games at home all set up.
And they schedule. It's really like a vacation for them. Like I have friends who would include me in a chat. I can't join them, but I will see them like find a schedule
Playing.
for it and then play the whole day. It's really find a weekend for them to play it, and it's
Oh,
really 8 hours.
okay. All right.
So yeah, so
So
people
this is
are
this is also a passion vote.
yeah
It is.
Yeah.
A
people
lot
do
of
meet up.
I think it's not even do you play this game often because the criteria is does it spark joy, right? So I think a lot of people play this like twice and say, "My God, this is the best game ever," and they put it somewhere in their list,
Uh-huh.
right? I think
Yes,
so.
yes.
You
And the
don't have to
losers
play
are
something
and the losers are like, oh, I'm never gonna vote for this game.
so it's either you're really passionate about it or you just forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
As
Okay.
I'm curious as to how the pandemic affected this list. Like,
Yes.
did people like have more time playing at home, or maybe possible?
Actually, I think that one of the main impacts that that would have is that people who had these games in their collections had time to play them and not anything
Mm.
else that was like maybe circulating around the market. So it was a
Sparked
very good
joy.
yeah, it's a very good opportunity for people to kind of play their collections. And
Sparked
really, I
joy.
mean, if you're making a list and you have a collection, these are your favorites. There's a reason why they're on your shelves. And being stuck at home gave you nothing but opportunity to play the stuff on your shelf.
Exactly.
Or read the
Bring it
rules
out.
again while having coffee or wine.
Rediscover why you love
Why was this on my shelf again?
Exactly.
Oh, now I remember. Oh, that's why. I remember. Then we talked about Power Grid. No first place votes, but it's on number 10.
Yeah.
That's how many
Because
people voted for it.
it's
Yeah.
that ingrained into the culture of gaming.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Power Grid. I think I did a. I don't know if it got through, but I wanted to make a comment there that Power Grid was one of my tools back in the day to convert people into core gamers. It's like, okay, you're interested in gaming. Let me teach you. They have a
I
few
I
hours.
think I know why no one voted it for first place.
Why?
Because it has paper money. That's about it.
You know, was
You
Acquire
should
on the
see
list?
my
I can't
copy.
remember.
Every
Acquire.
paper money is sleeved.
Wrong! Wrong! Why?
I
Because
have sleeved paper money. Okay, so I'm
Azul.
really happy Power Grid made it. Of course, Azul is gonna be there. So it's
Woohoo!
combined with,
Number 8.
Maybe
and then number eight at 100 points.
Woohoo!
and it's nice
Average
that
at
there's like so
five.
many people passionate about birds. You guys keep playing your bird games.
Hey, Javi 7 Splendor.
Yeah.
So Splendor's there.
Out the
Let's see
birds,
So
thank God. And that century spice.
Look, look at that.
Thank you.
No first place votes. That game is ingrained.
It's
I
12.
tell
By the way,
you,
it's 12 votes. Look at that. 12
if
votes, but no first place votes.
Splendor
What's
is
the
our,
highest it
is
got?
our Pusoy Dos, man. No
What's the
one's
highest
gonna
it
put
got?
it number one, but it's there.
Did it get number 2? Is it the highest vote that it got? Number 2?
You mean in the terms of vote count? Yeah, I think it's one of the highest. Like, yeah, 16, 13, and then 12. So 12 was the third highest vote count in the countdown.
Oh, okay.
Now, for all of you who voted, wait till you try the Marvel version.
yeah, yeah, guys. It's like it will add new joy.
It will spark new joy.
So brass. So this is impressive, like what you mentioned a while ago, where
Three first place
Brass.
votes.
brass
Yeah.
is
These are
that
again. These are the
popular.
people who voted for it, who bought the deluxe edition.
The
Is
yeah
it because of the
the
deluxe
KS.
or is it
I
because
I
because
I
of the
think
clay,
so.
because of the clay coins.
I think so. And take note,
I
this
think
is the
so.
new brass. This is the new brass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
This is not the previous rule set brass. Brass
yeah.
Birmingham is the rework.
The new
So
one.
this had more
I
votes than the new one.
Yeah, I think probably because of like the new sort of slightly more contrast board, um, the better components, and probably the more streamlined rules. People still like train games and route building games, so I think this is why it's
So
still
hard
up
to
there.
it's so hard to set up though.
Yeah.
Bawal
All
umatching.
those
Bawal
chips flying
umatching.
around. Magalaw pa yung table. What was my setup again? No.
Release lang ng konti yung mga tracks. No. So this one, as we mentioned, this is super
That's super
surprising.
high.
Yeah.
It's so high.
It
I know
beat
it's
out
good.
Azul. It beat out Power Grid. It
Wingspan?
beat
I know.
out Splendor.
This was
Beat out
this is very
Wingspan.
surprising given the level of how steep the learning curve of this
Yes,
game
the
is.
difficulty, entry level difficulty
These
in
all
this
might
game.
be people who know each other that have one of them owning a copy.
No,
Just
no,
say.
And I think okay, so I think that's a good this kind of appearance in the entry. I think Javi was asking whether the pandemic affected the countdown. I think one thing that may affect the countdown is solo gamers. So I think
Yes.
a lot of people discovered
Mhm.
solo gaming in the last 10, 11 months. And if you go to the solo gamers forum, Spirit Island is one of the top games.
Yes.
So, and I think
Yep.
a lot of
Yeah.
It is.
people play Spirit Island also as solo.
Yep. So I think that's a big factor. It plays very well in solo. Again, solo back in the day where we look at it's just a variant. Solo now there's so much more design that people are putting into solo game design that it's no longer just simply a variant,
An
but rather a
add-on.
new. It's really an experience, specifically designed for solo. So it's no longer just here's a random puzzle, here's a random generator for moves. Gone are those days. Nowadays, when it's solo, there's like a they even can classify like what win condition type of ending that the
Wow.
solo variant has. There's so many more depth in solo game design. So
And just
I
to
think
add to Spirit Island, I just realized so Spirit Island came from the same publisher, Greater Than Games, which is the same publisher
Yeah.
for, if you remember this game, Sentinels of the Multiverse.
Yeah.
yes.
So they were
Mhm.
the same publishing house for this game. So actually, that was also a very soloable game. So a lot of their like design like
You can
sensibilities kind
solo.
of went into Spirit
Carried
Island.
over. Yeah,
Yep.
carried over to Spirit Island.
Looking for Spirit Island.
LF.
LF. LF. Will trade for. Willing to trade for.
All right.
Selling
So here,
exploding kittens for Spirit Island.
Sige na,
Here
nasa
we
top
are,
100
number
naman
four.
yung ano eh. Exploding
Okay, so
kittens, top 100.
so this one was a little bit of a controversy.
No.
A little bit of some
Let me
popcorn
say,
moments.
terraforming wouldn't have been on my list, but I can recognize that this is on a lot of other people's lists.
Yep.
Yeah. So could you
It's gonna
share
be
with us
there,
like
no matter.
some of the
Average
heated
rank.
That's
That's
it.
where
It's
he beat
time
it
to
out.
actually show names.
No, it's right there. See?
Bring up the
Average rank
discussion
of
thread.
Viticulture was 5th place and average rank of TM is 6th, even though TM has more first place votes.
Yeah, so it's like there's a more higher contrast, right? So there's a lot of people who voted it high, but there was also a lot of people who voted it low, right? And then viticulture tended to bunch more in the middle, and just by a few points, it beat terraforming Mars basically.
Rightfully so, rightfully
were,
so.
were the terraforming Mars people asking for a recount? Are they filing a conjecture to
So,
the Supreme Court?
so I think when terraforming Mars came out number 4, so we had like 3 more games to go. Every day they would post like, "Is this better than terraforming Mars?" Like when viticulture came out, it's like, no, this is not better than terraforming Mars. Tell
Yes,
me
it
why.
is.
It's like
Yes, it is.
Change. It's the meme. Change my mind.
change my mind.
Okay,
Then
so
Blood
like-
Rage came out. It's like, no, this is not better than terraforming Mars.
We'll get to that later. That's a good point. That's a good point. The no, this is not better thing, but we'll get to that later. So, viticulture and then BR number
Hell yeah.
2.
Of course. Yeah,
Thank you.
sure.
We're just gonna be there.
This one, the Blood Rage, and
Wonder Woman.
No, or Ragnarok, man.
Oh, okay. But I
I know.
agree. I actually agree with the top 2. Like what you said, or even Terraforming Mars. I actually thought that it was gonna be number 3 or number 2. Honestly,
Yeah.
Terraforming Mars.
no, but which is what was interesting with me. I still see people play Scythe. To be honest, I don't see as much people play Blood Rage. However, it still came up as number
Do
2.
it
So
in the
I'm
dark
guessing
when
the
no one's watching.
so I'm guessing the people still love their experiences of that game, that they're still really ranking it quite high
Mhm, mhm.
as compared to maybe,
Unforgettable.
you know, so sometimes Terraforming Mars may technically be a more fantastic game because of all of like the systems in implementation. However, Blood Rage could produce more memorable games.
Oh,
Was the
hell
fun
yeah.
game.
Agree.
right? So maybe
Because
It was
it's
that's
a
the
more
where
technical game.
interactive game.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
it's a more interactive game. Like, I mean, there's
yes.
a lot of
It is a game
player interaction.
literally fueled by rage.
You know what that means, right? Ameritrash is greater than Euros.
Aha, yes. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
You well, apparently in the Philippines 4X and economic games are better than Euros and Ameritrash games because that's what Scythe is, right? But looking at Blood Rage behind Viticulture, which was a Euro, behind Terraforming Mars, which is also a Euro, apparently Ameritrash is king in Philippine context.
Well, you know
Wait,
what? I
Because
think that
apparently
it's
Filipinos are
maybe
more conflict driven.
no.
That one too. That one too.
There's a lot of experiences that you can have in these kinds of games. Considering
Agree.
that Scythe has like multiple objectives to complete. Blood Rage can even reward you for losing and
Losing.
you can win the game. So it has different approaches which I think help in giving people different experiences, which might click better. It's not buy low, sell high for 3 hours.
and
But
and
it's good, right? That you talk about experiences because I think ultimately the games that ranked high are not like the technically by design best game. It's
Right.
the feels good that you get from the game. So
Right.
I
yeah.
think the Scythe, yung Blood Rage, we talked about the gameplay, and I think even the bits, right? When you look at the components, you really,
Mhm.
really just enjoy the game, looking at
The
it.
whole experience.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the list was not about which is the best game. The
Yeah, yeah.
list was about which really gave you the best experience that it's
I,
still
I I think
memorable.
I think a big factor for Filipino culture would be definitely that, like all of the memories. Like I don't know if I talked about Panamax in my list when I explained to you, but definitely on Kemet, Panamax, I would be sharing stories about how the experiences that I got to enjoy when I played those games. And maybe that's a Filipino culture thing that we're more attached to experiences than a little bit more than just the technicality of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Terraforming Mars, produces great experiences as well, but maybe it also produces not so great experiences with other gamers. A little bit less so to Scythe or Blood Rage.
And
But yeah,
I,
one thing I will say is it doesn't mean game one is better than game four. I know we were gonna segue
no,
Right.
there at some
Right.
point.
Right.
I think it's just game one here just tended to like be more favorited by a lot more people because of the
exactly.
great
Mm-hmm.
experiences. And then
Mm-hmm.
Terraforming Mars is also a great game. You know, it's probably in my top 30, top 20, but I'm not gonna say it's my favorite. It's still a great game, right?
Yeah, I think this is about how much of a positive impact it's made to certain people. That's why
Correct.
that they felt that this game deserved to be on the list.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean, in
sorry, go
my
ahead.
top 10, I have Power Grid, and I'm super glad that it's there in the top 10. And for me, it brought again, the reference of it was like the experiences that I got with Power Grid. That's why I wanted it to be in my top 10. I think it's really the same here, that all of these are very sound games that you can't go wrong. Like this list, that's what's really
The
cool about
top
it.
10
You can't
list.
go wrong.
You can't go
Actually,
wrong with
all
the
the way
top
to
10
maybe
list.
like 80, 90. Hagipin nyo naman si Kemet, guys. Please try Kemet.
Oh,
listen,
Kemet.
I know.
For those of you who
Unless
love
you guys
Blood
are big
Rage,
R fans, try Rising Sun.
Yes, Rising Sun.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Pa-shout out eh, no?
What's a good thing to point out is that the top two games are also like, how can you say it? It's more of a collection. Like
Yeah.
there were
Blingable,
expansions
blingable
in,
games.
bling bling games.
yeah, these are the games that you can also that have available expansions as compared to, like, for example, Viticulture and Terraforming Mars. We know they have expansions, but when you think about collection, like for example minis, right, and upgraded components, I
Artwork.
think Scythe and Blood Rage are the
Plastic is
top
the
two
way.
games that also
I
released
mean,
all these blings, like. Uh,
yeah, Scythe alone has the metal necks, which are
Yeah.
so
yeah,
exclusive.
exactly. It's like I'm
and
not gonna fix the game, but here you go. Go get your metal nets.
One,
Where was
one,
our people?
one each. So you have to buy it 4 times
Exactly.
on a limited print run. it's
no,
it's
but
a
I'm
collectible.
kind of happy though that that did set a precedence for like multiple games to go metal.
No,
yeah,
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
for
don't
I'm
think
sure,
it will
surprised.
sure.
work
I'm
with
surprised
others.
Rising Sun didn't release like
Oh
kamis
gosh,
that are metal, man.
Oh no, you just
that
wait for it, man.
that
There'll be
would
like a
work.
metal board. Yeah.
Metal board, bling
You will have to
shiny
be craned
board.
over to your house,
Imagine
I think
having a statue of Cthulhu. Like,
made of just
miniature.
grass.
Metal. Hey, I'd buy that. Metal Cthulhu, I'd buy that.
Oh gosh,
And to your point,
that
Ron,
would
it's kind of like Everdell, right? Everdell also is
Ever
this
Metal
playing a board
Tree.
game
exactly.
that's like. So I think that's why it's here because it's just there's so many ways to express your love for the game, right?
The
yeah.
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
um the purple
Well,
circles in Everdell, they're so tactile.
The pears,
The
yeah,
berries, the
the-
berries are so
The
yeah,
tactile.
berries.
you can
and
get
yeah.
into a
Exactly.
little bit of taxidermy and hunt down some birds to replace the cards on Wingspan.
you
It will make shuffling it a little difficult, but it'll be worth it.
I wanna share with you guys before you actually got on board. Me and Ron were talking, and one of the observations that I had in my list, and I want you guys to chime in on this one. We saw the list and we thought, well, me, this is my opinion that most of the games that are on the list are not entry level games already, especially in the higher one. So it tells
Sure.
us that there are men board gaming in the Philippines has reached past that level, I think, of it just being an activity or something that you do when you have friends and you have nothing to do. Now people are really trying to get deeper into this game and into this hobby. That's why we have those, right? And I told Ron that only means that we need to share more and share it more to the community because that means we're not going out anymore. We're
Yeah,
becoming a close group already.
yeah,
Yeah,
Because
it's
if
You
we're
also
still
have to
going
consider
out,
then.
right?
That's
Because if
that's a
we're still
good point.
going out, we're still gonna have Ku as number 20. We're still gonna have
Resistance Avalon.
Resistance Avalon as number 9 or something like
Actually, it
that.
was
Or
just
Yeah, I
resist.
think you have to consider is that gamers are the ones who voted. I
Yes.
mean,
that
the
one too,
entry
right?
level people
The
Mhm.
sample size
wouldn't
was taken
really,
from people
but
in the
this is a
community.
good window. Yeah, this is a good window for them to check out
Discover new
the
game.
evolution of this hobby, right? The evolution of
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
hobby. Like you start out with Coup and whoa, it's here in the top 100, but there are 99 other titles that I can try and people enjoy as well. Diba?
Mhm.
So that's a good
And
insight.
then to add to that, like why we got this kind of list, and probably this is also a good continuation of the question of what I didn't expect, right? I asked people to give their top 15, but they if they can't, just give me a minimum of 5 games. And
Mhm.
I thought there would be a lot more minimum of 5 game voters actually.
No.
Um,
No.
but no, there were like just only 3 people who couldn't do the top 15. So everybody else was able to come up with a top 15 list to provide to the countdown. So I
Start
think
That's
this,
PMing
good.
pwede pa 20.
yeah, actually next year I'm considering that. Baka kaya pala na 20 games. So that
Yeah.
would be more interesting.
Yeah, and I think it could sit. I mean, to the ones who voted this year, and again, if we do this again, if Jake, gets more support and gets some more, volunteers, and probably get some systems up and running so that people can chime in. We really implore that everyone vote, even if you've already voted, vote again. It would be
Mm.
nice to see, how as a Philippine group, it's not necessarily a representation of everything, but it's a nice to know like where we are as a community, what's our progress in what games we have been playing. It's something that's very common to all of us. And every single time when we talk about those games, it's an intersection to all of us. Like, oh, I've
Mhm.
played that too. I've played that too. And as a community, it's like oh, we all played that. That's something pretty nice.
And we all
And
agree that
again,
it's a good game.
Correct.
yes,
Or it's not a
yes.
good game.
Or it's not a good game if it's not on the list. Right, right. This is not a good game. No, it's the best game. Apparently not.
Wait lang. Wala yung Panamax ko sa listahan eh.
It's not a good game.
How is this game better than Panama? How is this game
Where in this list your game ranking?
Another thing that I saw was that Filipinos don't buy into the hype. Or am I
Or
wrong?
maybe they do buy into the hype, but then when they realize
They
it's a bad
quickly
game,
realize.
they don't add it to their list. It's in their list of shame. It's like,
We had a discussion about
Agree,
that
agree.
a while ago,
Agree.
right?
Yeah.
I know, I'm looking at my list, at my shelf. Oh, I bought into the hype, but I just don't
Oh,
bought it
no.
anymore.
You just don't bring it up.
I
Like,
just don't bring it up. It's a
Yeah.
different list. It's a different list.
You should do more than
Yeah.
this.
When this goes around again, maybe for next year's list, like I definitely want to vote, and I think that it would be important for people in the community that once you contribute, it I would give. I wouldn't say it's everyone's duty, but I would recommend or encourage everyone to reach out to other people in your community to start submitting their votes.
Hey, it's
And
just
Yeah.
15.
I
It's still
think
15.
it would give a really good snapshot of what games are what
relevant
games
to
people or would be relevant to everyone in our community now. Instead of taking it as recommendations from other places, other lists that may not know our sensibilities, our accessibility to games, or even
Mm.
just all the way down to just the weight and how easy it is to learn or pick up this game. Like there are stuff on this list that I wouldn't recommend to beginners, but everything on this list would be something I would recommend to anyone in the active gaming community,
Right.
except
And-
for Juice Bite.
Also, this has been I've seen this somewhere, but it will also help out, like what Javi said, to those people who are, because I know a lot of people who want to make their own games, and this list is a good barometer of what kind of games Filipinos are into. It gives you a small idea
Well, okay.
that
to
these are what
qualify
Filipinos
that.
want.
Yeah, so for Filipino core gamer market, definitely the ones, the 62 that answered and the ones who are probably listening and the ones who are interested. Philippine board game enthusiasts, they're basically enthusiasts already. So if you want to design for that sort of
Group.
niche,
Yeah.
group, definitely
Those
the
16,000 people.
if you look at if you look at this list and go like, oh, I have only played two of those, you gotta play more. Okay, just so that you understand like the Filipino sensibilities of what Javi said. Of course, there's like what you mentioned, Denmark. It's also sort of indicating like we need to expand the horizon a bit more because there's less sort of um, gateway games in the list.
Yeah.
We'll submit quarterly.
Quarterly.
Quarterly daw. Quarterly.
Ano to? Parang exam to.
Nakapagpasa ka na ba ng list mo?
Oh,
Retreat.
our 100 midterm list.
Lapit na deadline na. Submit ka
You
na.
haven't given your list yet.
Lagot ka, hindi ka pa nagpapasa.
But I know this will help people like Board Game Hero Clint. He wants to make his own game. At least this will. I know this will help him. It will give him a snapshot.
Yeah, and anybody
And
who's
anybody
aspiring
else, right?
to design, these are decent
Javi
enough.
too. His worker placement game.
Yeah, still,
Yes.
still on the ranks, but
And again, the what's really interesting is that okay, so this is how it looks like, at least for the core market. How do we add more to this core market? Because it's again, if we are, for example, getting submissions of like 500, 1,000 entries, that means that that's an active 1,000 entry sample size. Like if
Yeah.
that's the number that you're talking about, what's the sort of passive market looking like? So at the moment, you're
I'm
looking at a
making offers for
64.
everybody's data, by the way. Just shout out lang. Baka gusto nila data. Hello ka lang.
Yeah,
Naging
so
Cambridge Analytica bigla eh. No?
Hey, we have to
quantic
disassociate
founding.
right now. We're gonna get screwed in the long run. We're gonna be fall guys.
So
But
yun, so
go on,
I,
Ron.
yeah, so I think it's a good start, definitely. So again, Jake, thank you for starting this, and thank you
Yes.
for getting people excited, and it's such a and again it's so brilliant because it's so easy to consume. I like that it's done on a daily basis. It's just a small post. You don't have to like what we do. It's like, oh, I don't want to watch that. It's 2 hours, so
It's one
nobody
hour and
watches.
30 minutes.
Nobody watches our stream because we take too long. We talk too much.
But I have a joke to Ron. I was telling Ron, those posts I post daily, I work on it like an hour because I think the 15 minutes is just very easy to just type up everything and figure it out. But the clue takes like 45 minutes. I have to outsmart everyone and think, no,
Oh
this
my
is too
God.
Yes,
obvious.
like-
I'll think of something else. 45 minutes, I can do
So
nothing.
obvious. It's about cats, pero sa iting game. So we're like, it's like,
after thinking about it for 45 minutes and posting it the next day, how is this better than my game?
Yeah. Ganun lang, ganun lang yung sagot nila. Ano ba yan, guys? Tagal ko inisip to, guys.
ang haba nung write up ko dun sa taas, so tapos biglang clues lang pala gusto nyo.
Clues lang pala gusto ko. Clues lang pala to, guys. Susunod, ganun na lang.
Yeah, but yeah, I want to commend
Yeah.
Jake for his effort dun sa write-ups niya, like, creativity and
It's not easy. It's really not
It's not
easy.
easy.
Writing's
Oh.
not
Oh.
easy.
No, I mean, when you were starting the endeavor, I was going like, oh, that's gonna be a lot of work, a lot of work, and a lot of sort of like, a lot of people inquiring, questions and weird questions and not understanding the question and
Yep. Somebody voted Istanbul twice on his list, by the way. So somebody voted Istanbul second, and then voted Istanbul big box number 4.
I love it.
So I was like, if you're listening,
Rock on.
you kind of made me spend an extra hour on the list because of that. Like, what the hell? Why is like Istanbul double counted? I was like wondering for like an hour.
you have
Nice.
to debug.
Had to vote for it twice.
So
Yeah,
good.
so we'll,
Love the game, voted twice.
I told you, man. I would probably vote the same game like 100 times.
Abby's list would be Rising Sun from 10 to
Yes.
9 to 1.
You're gonna be saying
No, no.
Ankh.
Number
soon.
100 would probably just be another game, and then 99 of it.
Yeah,
I think-
but again,
It will be interesting also when we do it next year, like what ranks the game like shake out, because I think some games will drop off, some games will fall. Like for example, will Root stay this popular next year? I don't know. Does will Everdell stay popular this year? We don't know. So that will be
Agree.
also
That's a,
interesting.
that's a good.
So it's
research
exciting.
too.
Like there's a lot of games in the pipeline, right? So
Right.
it's very exciting to see which games will like cut into the top 100 of
Right.
people.
Every
Right.
year games get
East their top
better.
15.
Exactly.
so
That's,
a few
that's
call
why
outs.
with that one, it's a testament to how Power Grid, Seven Wonders, they're still there. That's a testament to how
Ticket to
good those
Ride
games
is in the
are.
top 20 still.
ETR, Pandemic, they're still there. Azul is modern
Ah.
classic.
I was just thinking, for example, if we did this like 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, like Dinosaur Island would be somewhere here, right? There was a
Right.
time that Dinosaur Island
Yeah.
was like the hotness,
Super
and
hot,
now
yes.
nobody
Isn't
talks
it?
about, and then now
Yeah,
no
I
one
know.
talks about it, right? So
It's now Spirit Island. Because they all died. And now the spirits of the dinosaur and the
Yeah,
island.
yes. Hindi na sila dinosaur, spirit na. Yes.
That's what
Okay.
happened. That's what actually
Lubin
happened.
says, math trade, perhaps soon.
That's
Alam niyo na yung
Adrian's, that's
Yes,
Adrian's
that's it.
That's
domain.
Adrian's domain.
Adrian and Jay.
Uh-huh.
But yes, so
Yeah, yeah.
again, Jake,
But this
for-
opens up like to different possibilities.
yeah. And seeing what comes up, what comes down, this is now a call out for everyone. So every core gamer, number one, I think we need to share this hobby to more people. That way we can see more variety, and also we don't want the same list all the time.
Don't change.
No.
Don't change it next year.
Exactly.
It's the same.
Same. That would be boring, right?
That
So
would be boring.
the only way it will change is that if we add new people into the hobby, then they'll add, kind of influence the interest, and we'll see something different. And we can
Yeah.
complain again about is this better?
Is this better than sight? How is this better than sight?
There's just
Is
one
it better than
I totally agree, though. That was also like the point that I was making earlier, that you gotta get other people to contribute and put in their votes.
Right.
Yes. So
For
it will
me,
be
for
a-
me, it's also a call out to people, especially core gamers. Go on the web, do reviews, do vlogs. It will also help people learn more and
Yeah.
see
Yep.
more.
Is Catan on the
Right.
list? Sorry, is Catan on the list?
No, I don't
Nakita
think
ko lang sa
so.
likod ni Denmark. Eh.
We should get Demon Worker on that list.
Yes,
that's
yes.
the only one, Denmark, that it did not work. Like, I know you have been talking about that for so many,
Oh man,
many
social
episodes
experiment
Doesn't
fail.
work.
but for cartographers' own merits, it did work.
The quest. Well, the crew. I mean the crew.
Yeah, so the new ones that are not yet as widely, I don't know if it's because it's not yet as widely spread out. So it will be interesting to see how that pans out next year. But definitely, now we can say it. Go vote.
Yeah.
There's like,
I need to work to get Orleans, Adrenaline, and those games
Oh,
behind
you're right.
me, man.
Orleans was not on the list.
Work to
Yeah.
get our
Yeah.
games on that list.
Sad.
somebody voted
Yeah.
for Orleans. It wasn't enough to get into the top 100.
We need to
Mm.
get this on the list.
Crusaders deserves to be there.
You need to get that into the Philippines first before you can get that into the list.
Correct?
There's
That's not a
no
game.
way. There's
That's
no
not
way
a
for
game.
obscure
That's
games.
an actual punishment.
It's an out of print game already.
Yeah. It's very hard for very obscure games. But again, it's a great list. Super thank you, Jake. Such an awesome project, and congratulations.
Yep.
One man team.
Subconscious plugin.
Right?
Subconsciously plugging in games.
For next year's vote. But yeah, for everyone that joined us, Jake, what do you wanna? How do you wanna encourage gamers to vote next year?
Sure. I mean, I think a lot of people
Double
at
checkers,
the start. Double checkers, I know. No, I think a lot of people at the start were kind of didn't know how fun this would be, right? At the start, they were like, this is a
Yeah.
lot of work, rank my games, etc., submit it. And then now that they're seeing the results of how fun it is to see the polls, how fun it is to see the games get revealed, etc., and then participate in the discussion, I hope that was like enough of parang evidence that this is a fun activity to do every year, and you know fun to participate in it every year. So hopefully, and then people seeing that we didn't get in, like we only got 60 votes. I'm saying 6 only, but that's a lot. But now I hope people knowing how fun it is are gonna like drag their friends, their group to vote, because it's a fun activity to do at the end of the year.
And again, also a great way to see where we're at.
Yeah.
It's also a definite plus for everyone, both industry, both gamers. Like, oh, those are the stuff I missed.
Yeah.
And all of my friends like them. So I don't need to buy them. I just need to find that friend.
There was a request. There was a request to release the names now, para he can like find this like-minded peers. No, where are my Everdell friends at? Parang ganun.
Rock critters.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. Maybe there's a system that you guys could come up with. But again, are you looking for volunteers for next year's work? How can they reach out
I
to
think
you?
I think between now and next year, I just need ideas at least. Like, do you think we can improve the process? What do you think is what else can we do next year? And then I guess once we get that idea together, we solidify that. Then we'll have a better sense of what kind of help we need, right? So, but I think more of
Awesome.
now, let's think about how we can improve this, make this better every year, and then we'll take it from there.
And enjoy. So everyone, enjoy the current list. Our first ever
Mhm,
Philippine
I'm
top
excited to see how
100
many will
games.
post LF posts. I'm really
Yeah.
excited. I'm gonna watch the forums like, ooh, that's another one.
LF
Galing.
Tour. And ito ako dun sa mga people who found like their similar-minded fans. Like the Twilight Struggle post. It's like the three people who voted Twilight Struggle found each other. And then they're so happy that they met each other. Exactly. It's amazing. Actually, it's amazing. All these positive effects of the list.
It helps strengthen the community. That's also good,
Yeah.
That's also good.
right?
Yeah,
Like Board
agree,
Game
agree.
Hero said, kudos to Jake because he made Board Game Enthusiast forums. I mean the page be noisy again. It's like people were like
Yeah.
posting
Yeah,
everything.
because for a time it was all about transactions.
Right.
Yeah,
LF.
it's
Bye.
I think we could spark
selling,
it's a good
selling,
spark.
selling. Yeah.
There
Cool.
you go.
All right. So again, thank you everyone. Thank you, Jake, for joining us today. Ron, also thank you for dropping by.
Thank you, Jake.
I know you guys have a common game group that you guys also play, so I wanted a familiar face. But Jake, I actually met you
Yeah, many
setting
times.
the game. The
Yeah.
first time I met you, I sold the War Machine.
Oh, was it
The deck building.
the 40K? Oh no, you sold me the Warhammer 40, the War Machine deck building. Was it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I
That's how-
remember that. I remember that. So it's part of our won't go into the top 100, but we bought into the hype kind of.
Yes.
So yes, I remember that.
I'm
Yeah,
passing
yeah,
the
yeah.
problem to you.
No worry, it's not with me anymore. I also
I know.
passed it on.
Good job.
Such is this community.
It's a telltale of what we really are.
That's called the blacklist. Hindi yan yung top 100. May blacklist tayo of games.
All right.
Hey, we should make that list.
I have games to contribute.
Blacklist games? Blacklist games? Oh, yeah,
Alright.
Abby has a lot of those.
Right.
All right.
Okay. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. Jake, Ron, thank you for joining.
Thank you for inviting
Everyone
me.
has 100 of those games. If you haven't tried all of them,
You can't go wrong.
go and look for those. Maybe not
You have the
Exploding
rest
Kittens.
of
You can skip
2021
that one.
to find and play those games. Then vote come
Yes.
November.
November
Go on the
2021.
forums,
Go to
post
the forum.
you're looking for, and yeah, and
Yeah, we might have
go
those.
try them out.
I have some for sale.
Yun pala yung pinaka ano.
Yeah, you post also, Ron. Go on. Run. Tell them what you're selling to.
Ben,
Alright,
ben, was,
alright.
Ben was telling me like it would have been nice if you kinda started selling also, no? Tana sinegue mo rin yung mga games mo na gusto mo ibenta. Isabay mo dun sa top 100. Sabi niya ngayon sa akin. Sabi ko,
Parenthesis, I am also selling this.
yeah, exactly. Parang ganun.
Link to the selling post.
It's number 21. You like it, you can pick it up for only.
Exactly. Sabi ko, di naman. Wag na. Hirap na.
No, I think it will come naturally. People will
I
be
think so.
looking for those games. Those games will then cycle out. from the game, from the players who are no longer playing those games. It goes to players who haven't played those games. And again,
At the very
this
least, they'll be
now,
curious.
hopefully, they are
Yep.
sharing it with new gamers and adding new gamers to our community.
Yep.
To the point where you're now counting. Okay, Ron, there's 10,000 entries. we need we need, we need a
Ron,
cloud.
make me an algorithm, Ron.
We need some cloud servers, Ron. Let's spin some up. All right, we won't we hindi tayo matatapos. So thank you everyone for
Right.
joining us. Until next time, keep
Bye.
playing old games. You have
Play
the
more
list
old
there.
games.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.